Hey, what's going on, beautiful black people? How are you? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you guys can see me. I hope you guys can see me and you can hear me. If you can see me and you can hear me, I hope you'll let me know. I am in Los Angeles right now. I'm right now in LA. We're finishing up some stuff that we started. We're finishing up that movie, Steel Justice, and another movie called Just Love. Steel Justice, as you know, it features, as you might know, Dame Dash is in it, Claudia Jordan, Richard T. Jones, Richard Brooks, who's on Being Mary Jane, and a few other people. Also, Just Love has Claudia's in there too, but also Jack A. Harry, Guy Torrey, Miguel Nunez, and some other people. And also the other day we had an event in LA, and we did basically some finance and edutainment, as I call it, where basically we had some really talented performers come in from The Real Network. The Real Network is the black casting agency that I partner with in Los Angeles on a regular basis, run by Tierra Williams, and they're doing awesome things. They're actually playing a big role in the new Tupac movie that's coming out. They're helping with some of the casting on that. And speaking of that movie, I happened to see Benny Boom, who's the director of the Tupac movie, and I was real impressed with that brother, man. He came through. Dame Dash and I were in the radio station, and we were, just chopping it up. And I'm literally ready to cuss Dame out. I love the brother, but I was ready to cuss him out because he was talking about, the race issues in a way where I was like, dude, what are you talking about, man? It's like this, literally, I'm talking about literally like that all lives matter shit. Oh, well, Dr. Boyce, you need to stop teaching black people to be so angry. I said, well, we got a lot to be angry about. What are you talking about, man? Well, that's not the solution. Black people need to stop doing this and need to learn how to do that. And I said, okay, so what you're doing is just you're supporting. And again, this is my friend. Just so y'all know, I'll check my friends. If you my homeboy and you come talking some bullshit, I'm gonna have to fight you. And so I love Dame. Y'all know that. Y'all know I love Dame Dash. He's my boy. But I was like, dude, what are you saying right now? So Benny and I, we're in the studio, and I got some footage of it. I'm gonna put it on the YouTube channel. And Benny Boom, I could tell Benny understood what I was saying. Benny understands how racism works. We were talking about Nate Parker also, and I literally, if I interpreted it correctly, Dame basically seemed to feel that race has nothing to do with Nate Parker's situation and how they're treating Nate Parker. That literally him being black has nothing to do with it. That if he were white, they would do the exact same thing. And so, again, I see Christina saying that she's the same with checking her friends and family. Yeah, sometimes you got to. Sometimes you got to have the courage to say to that person that you love, I love you, but you are full of shit right now. And I'm not going to be polite and let you just spit this ridiculousness without me saying something, without me at least agreeing to disagree with you. So that's what happened. We just had to agree to disagree. I think sometimes, unfortunately, when people get in a celebrity space, they have a different reality. And I hang out with Dame, and of course, when I go to different cities, people recognize me, but for him, it's on a different level. There's certain neighborhoods he just can't go to. Like I'll go to South Central to do events, and Dame won't go to South Central because when you're in hip hop, when you've been a part of that industry, it can bring a lot of craziness into your life. But anyway, that was just on my mind, and I ain't gonna lie, it had me woke up like mad, like seriously, man, like how can you not understand how racism plays a role in all of this? Did any of y'all, before I jump in, two things. One, if you are on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever, please hit the share button real quick and share this with your friends and family so they can join the conversation. Also, if there's a subscribe button somewhere around, I hope you will subscribe and get into our web. Connect with us. We are on a journey to develop black media, independent black media, without having to go to white folks to get permission to talk to each other. I would go on CNN, but I resented it. I vehemently resent any scenario in which you make me in order for me to do my job or to do what I'm supposed to be doing for my people. So we try to use the internet as a way to develop Black-owned media channels that belong to us, that nobody else can interfere with. So I hope that you'll support us in this journey and do the share. Also, as a reminder, don't forget the All Black National Convention is coming up in Atlanta the weekend of September 16th. The All Black National Convention. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com to buy tickets. We're going to try to live stream it. It won't be free, but it will be affordable for everybody. So I hope that you'll be a part of that. We got a whole lot of people coming through. Judge Olu Stevens, the rapper Killer Mike, Dr. Tyrus Selden, Lene Javette, David Banner is coming through, Zaza Ali is coming through, Yvette Carnell, Dr. Roosevelt Mitchell III, Yurima Karama, Jay Morrison, Mr. Real Estate, Andre Hatchett. I can keep going down the list on and on and on. And now people are starting to reach out. Experts and celebrities are trying to reach out to be a part of the convention. Even even Charlie Murphy. Y'all know Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie. Even Charlie Murphy and Claudia Jordan. I saw them. I saw Claudia and Charlie was speaking through somebody else. They were both saying they wish they could be at the convention too. And I love it. I love the fact that there are so many people who get it, who are getting behind those of us who really want to fix this thing, who ain't trying to go out here and just hope for the best. In all this. Okay, Joe is saying, could someone please tell Stephen A. Smith to shut up? I've been telling Stephen A. to shut the fuck up for about 5-6 years now. It hasn't worked. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen because, the white man's money's good. They say his ice, they say that some of us think his ice is colder, but I think it might be. I think he got that special ice that you get when you own half the universe. So, when you get that white man's ice and it's nice and cold and comfy, it causes you to lose your mind. It causes you to get out here and say things that don't make any sense. It causes you to abandon your people. When you get a money over everything mentality, where money is the only thing that matters, then ultimately you become a de facto supporter of white supremacy because white people control most of the money. So if you use money as your measure of your own self-esteem, your own self-worth, your own dignity, then effectively you're saying to the world that the white man's acceptance of me, which comes with a certain amount of compensation, is the only pathway I have to my own dignity, to feeling good about who I am. And that's why, again, with me being a financial expert, whatever I am, I have a PhD in finance. I tell people to be very, very careful with the way money works and the incentives created by money. Money is a drug. Money affects, according to Professor Andrew Lowe at MIT, money affects the same region of your brain as cocaine. So literally, you got crackheads on TV. That's what they are. They're addicted to the dough. They're addicted to the white man's money, and that's all they see is their self-worth. And one of the things I was arguing, again, this came up when Damon and I were having our conversation, was he said, would you sell your company for $1 billion? I said, I don't know. It would depend. And he said, well, come on, man, you would sell it for $1 billion. I said, no, because my bottom line is not just a financial one. I have to think about the people I represent. I have to think about my community in terms of what I decide to do with my business. It doesn't mean I wouldn't consider selling. It's like, okay, if I have $1 billion, what can we then do with that $1 billion that we can't do right now? That's what I'd be thinking. Like, okay, this could be a flip. I'm flipping from one contribution to another contribution. It certainly wouldn't be $1 billion that I would just use to go buy the biggest house on the block and the nicest car and go on vacation every week. It would be $1 billion where I'd say, okay, now we can really go forward with developing the national chain of black movie theaters that I want to develop, or buying, the 100 acres of land in Atlanta I want to buy as a compound, where we're going to have an educational facility, a business incubator, as well as a production studio. These are some of the things that go through my mind, and I'll tell you more about that later. I don't mean to go off on that tangent, but let me hit this situation with Colin Kaepernick. I mean, there's so many interesting racial issues that have come up because you got the Nate Parker thing, and Benny Boom and I, the director of the Tupac movie, we did have a discussion about whether or not Nate Parker's film is dead because of this ridiculous thing going on with these allegations from 17 years ago that he was never found guilty of. But I'll kind of save that for the second part of the conversation. I'm going to talk about Colin right quick and say this very clearly, and I'm going to say this at least one time. I might repeat it if I feel inspired to do that. Colin Kaepernick is the greatest player in the NFL. Colin Kaepernick, by taking a stand on racism in America and using his power to support his people, has instantly propelled himself into black athlete immortality. Period. He's the greatest player in the NFL right now because you got a lot of these Negroes who don't know who the hell they are. They think all I am is I just run and I just dump and I just catch the football for the white man. That's what I do. That I was born to play football. That's what I'm doing, Shaw. That's all I do. And then I go to the club and I go to the club. I get drunk and we get crunk, man. We throw it up. I mean, you know, for real. I mean, you got people that literally just think that all you were born to do is catch a damn football or dribble a damn basketball. I mean, seriously. I mean, you know, we've got some of the most brain-dead zombies in our community that it's ridiculous. And the thing is, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. A lot of them, unfortunately, were groomed to be that way. You know, it's like a prostitute that gets hooked on crack cocaine and heroin. You know, she don't know who she is no more. Her self-esteem was already shot. She already was lost enough to even consider being a prostitute. And now you got the drugs thrown in there. So all she knows how to do is search for the next high. She doesn't really know how to truly empower herself anymore because her pimp has her under his spell. Well, many of our athletes have a pimp that has them under their spell. And the pimp is, instead of using crack cocaine or whatever, they're using money. They're using a better drug. Dollar bills are the best drug that there are. If you want to control somebody, if you really want to control another person, and make them do exactly what you want them to do, all you got to do is find somebody who doesn't know who they are, who needs a little bit of money, and offer them money to do what the hell you tell them to do. And if they don't want to do it, just keep offering them more money. Eventually, they'll find an excuse to do it. Because if you don't, as they say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. If you don't know who you are, if your self-perception is kind of like a feather where it can float in any direction based on where the wind is blowing, then you can find a reason to justify any kind of ridiculous behavior. You can always find a reason to think that it's okay to do that. I still remember back when I used to challenge BET on, on the fact that they were promoting, black genocide through music. And I remember talking to a BET executive about it, and all this dude could say was, well, did you see how much money we made at the BET Awards? And I'm like, wow, so you pretty much think it's okay to let children die so you can make more money? I mean, you really think it's okay to poison your own people so you can get paper, so you can go to the Grammys and the Oscars or whatever the hell you go that makes you feel like you are somebody? You really think that trade-off makes sense? So a lot of us done lost our damn mind. A lot of us as black people are insane. You saw Jerry Rice, who played for the 49ers. Of course, and I knew what Jerry was going to say. I picked up a kind of like subtle coonery in Jerry a long time ago. Plus, he's old school, so that adds to it, unfortunately, the brainwashing. And Jerry literally basically gave kind of a textbook white supremacist Uncle Ruckus reaction to Colin's decision to take a stand. He said something like, all lives matter, and he needs to respect the flag. I mean, that basically means to me that you're responding to your programming, Jerry. You're pretty much saying exactly what white America, what racism, what white supremacy has programmed you to say. It's programmed you to say dumb shit like all lives matter, which is another way of saying that black people don't have any sort of situation that is unique to any of us. That basically black people need to stop complaining that everything's fine the way it is. America's great. And also, respect the flag. It kind of says, despite the fact that the country is doing horrible things to black people, despite the fact that black men have very good reason to not feel comfortable in this country, you're just saying, well, you just got to respect the flag. That's what we told. That's what Master told us to do. That's what we're supposed to do. That's how we make our money. It's how we stay on the football field. And that's the problem with Jerry. The problem with Jerry Rice is that he's a guy. He's not a lazy or weak man. I mean, this man played football for many years. He stayed in great shape until he was over 40 years old. But all he sees himself as is an athlete. All he sees himself as is kind of a person that fits into a system. He was consistent and he was rewarded financially because he fit very well into the system. Colin Kaepernick, as talented as he is, does not fit into a system, because unfortunately somebody cursed him, and I say this to be sarcastic, but somebody cursed him with a knowledge of self. Somebody, that's the problem. I'll tell you what, when I was raising my baby brother and I was teaching him about blackness and telling him about the importance of standing up for his people, stuff like that, and I saw he was taking to what I was saying, part of me felt a little guilty. Because I said, man, he could go out here, if I never give him knowledge of self, he could go out here and he could be winning. He could be making all kinds of money with white folks sitting across the table from him, kind of disconnected from all the problems that plague everybody else that they actually give a damn. But instead, I've convinced him to join a war where some of us feel like we're not always winning the war. I've convinced him to come play for the losing team. And everybody can't play for the losing team. It takes strength to play for the losing team. To play for the losing team, you got to really be ready to fight and ready to go down for what you believe in. Most black people, I believe, don't stand with other black people out of fear. It's out of fear because they'll say, "Look, I know." Think about it. Hey, go find the biggest Uncle Tom you can find, and ask them to talk about some of these issues, like bring up racism, stuff like that. Most of them will agree with you. Most of them won't really reject what you're doing or what you're saying because it's not true. You can't argue away racism. There's too much data, too many scientific studies have been done to prove that America is one of the most racist countries in the world. Instead, what they would do is they say, yeah, you're right, but, what are we going to do about it? Or, yeah, you're right, but we can't really fix this. Or, yeah, you're right, but we got to play the game. That's what they say. If you hear black people say we got to play the game, and play the game basically means kind of ignoring the genocide being committed against your people. It means ignoring the truth and fitting into the system that is committed to white supremacy. So therefore, in order to be rewarded by a system that's connected to white supremacy, you must also support white supremacy. So if Colin Kaepernick was to just throw the football and shut the fuck up, he would be, highly paid. He'd have a long career. They wouldn't give him any problems. But now they out here burning his brother's jersey and all this other stuff. And the thing is that those who know history know that these people are going to end up on the wrong side of history. That basically in 30 years, somebody from the 49ers organization is going to feel guilty about the way Colin was treated. The fact that he was traded from the team because he caused controversy, and they're going to bring him back and give him an award as an old man and say thank you for pushing us to realize the things that we didn't realize on our own, whatever. That's what they do. They kind of realize it 30 years down the road. They don't realize it in the moment. One thing I can say is I want to give a shout out to Big Jim Brown. I never met Jim Brown. I know he's connected with Syracuse, and it really breaks my heart that we've never had a chance to talk because I'm in LA all the time. I've met so many people who know Jim Brown. I got a letter a long time ago from Jim Brown's daughter, and one of the best compliments I ever got was when she said that you remind me of my father. That compliment was one of the best I ever received. The other one was when who was it? Jesse Jackson compared me to Martin Luther King. He said, Dr. King will be quoting you all over the place. Now, I don't know how to take that, but I thought that was an amazing compliment. And the compliment from Jim Brown's daughter was right there too, because I love Jim Brown. I mean, I just think that Jim Brown is like Teddy's saying, Jim Brown's the man. Like when I think about Jim Brown, I almost come to tears because I think about how hard he fought for his people. What this man was willing to sacrifice, I'm getting a little choked up here, so forgive me, guys. I'm trying to control it, but what this man sacrificed was just extraordinary. I mean, this brother was out here. He could have easily detached. He could have easily, pretended like the rest of us didn't exist. But he understood a fundamental rule which says that if you truly love the people that gave you, that made you into who you are, when you become successful, rich, and powerful, you should be representing those people. You are almost like an elected delegate of those people. You can't just forget about the people who gave you everything. And so Jim Brown was at Syracuse. He was raising hell at Syracuse. You know, I raised hell at Syracuse, but I think his work was more impactful because he was an athlete, and everybody pays attention to the athletes. I was just a professor on campus running my mouth. He went to the NFL, and he stood up against white supremacy. You know, then I just feel like Jim Brown, and again, he represents what I was saying earlier, that typically only the strongest among us spiritually, and Jim was strong physically, spiritually, intellectually. Only the strongest among us really take on this fight. Some people just are like, I can't, you know, my heart can't take it. I'm just scared. And so, anyway, Brian says, I respectfully disagree with you about Kaepernick. Well, I appreciate it. I mean, respectful disagreement is cool. It's when people get disrespectful that drives me crazy. He's a knowledgeable NFL fan. If Kaepernick doesn't make it in the league, it will be because of his talent. He's been struggling. Let's see here. Okay, I can't read the rest of the comment because they have this little thing that says see more, and I have to hit that. And you know what happens, Brian, when I hit that little button, my fingers are so big that I end up hitting like the wrong thing. But I see. Okay, so there wasn't much there more than. But you were saying he's been struggling the past few years. I didn't know that. I mean, I thought Colin was a pretty good quarterback. I mean, haven't the 49ers had some good seasons recently because of him? I don't follow the NFL closely, so Brian might be correct. So Brian says that he's a knowledgeable NFL fan. I'm not knowledgeable. I grew up like a lot of black boys thinking that I was going to play in the NFL one day, until I got older and realized, number one, I realized I didn't have the talent. You got to be damn near a superhero to play at that level. They're very good. Second of all, when I became a business school professor, I learned what kind of an economic hustle and a lie the NFL is for a lot of young black men. I learned about things like the brain damage that a lot of these brothers have. A lot of them. The majority of them have significant brain damage when they leave the league, as well as the serious physical problems that come with your body being hit that much. Your body's not supposed to get hit that much, especially with big 300-pound dudes on steroids. I mean, that's like being in a car crash like every day. Like, that's insane. Also, the addiction to painkillers. You have a lot of brothers that become drug dealers or drug addicts because they were taking so many pain pills in the NFL in order to stay on the field. So really, literally, you're shortening your life. I mean, NFL players don't live as long as everybody else because you're literally on the field killing yourself when you're playing at that level. I'm not dissing anybody who loves football or anybody who's hoping to be in the NFL. There might be NFL players watching right now, but I'm sorry. You need to go watch the Will Smith movie Concussion, as Shanice just brought it up, and that'll break it all down to you. It's real. I mean, the stuff is real. You know, there's a lot of different ways. There are easier ways to make $1 million than getting to the NFL. If every black man in America wants to make $1 million, here's all you got to do. Go spend a couple thousand hours studying entrepreneurship and learn how to be the best entrepreneur you could possibly be, and then go into business for yourself. Go into business with other brothers who are also well trained, and work together, and you will make a lot of money. I don't really think going to the NFL is the best way to make money at that level. It's just too damn hard. And so when I realized how much of a farce all that is, the fact that the average NFL career span is only about 2.3 years, that's when I was really grateful that I did not actually get a chance to play professional football. Before I forget, don't forget the All Black National Convention is coming up in Atlanta the weekend of September 16th. We got a lot of people that are flying in from other cities. We're going to have 3 days. We're going to show films. We're going to have panels on everything from police brutality to wealth building to black women's issues to mass incarceration to the 2016 election to starting businesses and buying black, supporting black. We've also got a couple of major announcements we're going to make at the convention on things that we're going to do that I think will have a huge impact on the community. So I hope that you'll come out. You can find out more by visiting allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. Michonne says, lodging for the Atlanta conference, waiting for a reply. Michonne, if you want to find lodging, we have a block of rooms that we've reserved with Fairfield Inn and Suites. Fairfield Inn and Suites, the one downtown. And basically, if you call them and you tell them you're rolling with me, you say, look, I'm rolling with Dr. Boyce and the All Black National Convention, they will give you a discount. I think that weekend, for whatever reason, the rooms are like 200 and something, but we were able to get a deal, I think, where they were going to drop the price for our people to $149. So please check that out. And also next time I'll try to find a black-owned hotel in the area. We picked that hotel to be close by because we're trying to shoot 2 documentaries right now, one on the education system and one on getting off the corporate plantation. And so we have to have the shooters near the venue because we're really trying to do this and try to make it work. Also, in terms of other events that we got coming up, this weekend I'll be at the Tom Joyner Black Family Reunion in Orlando. I'll be in Oakland and Sacramento later on. I'll try to get the details out. If you want to find out about these things, get on our list. You can get on a list and get a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, by visiting drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net, not .com. That's drboycewatkins.net. Also, Dr. Claude Anderson and I are going to have an event in D.C. Around the end of October, which is really going to be awesome. We've got a bunch of stuff kind of popping. I got to scroll down a little bit because I saw my girl Crystal Mendoza. I love Crystal Mendoza because I don't know if she always, I think she disagrees with me a lot. But it doesn't matter. I don't care if you agree. I'm not in this game for you to give me compliments. I'm in this game to talk about the truth. But she's very smart and she's very devoted. So let me see what she has to say. If you haven't been discriminated against, even as a black person, then you have no idea what an employer and staff will do to you. Kaepernick may have gotten, let's see, she says, Kaepernick may have gotten tired of playing their game. If the owner wants someone else to be the quarterback, then there's nothing Kaepernick can do. We don't know what he is enduring. Maybe the coaches aren't supporting him anymore. Excuse me, I got allergies. And showing more attention to the new quarterback, etc. That's true. I mean, it could be an internal beef where he just said, you know what, screw y'all. I'm not going to wear the mask no more. I'm just going to let it out because y'all not even showing loyalty to me. Now, would that have happened if he weren't having those problems Brian mentioned earlier? I don't know. It is what it is. Shanice says, I learned about Dr. Umar via you, Dr. Boyce. Thank you. Yeah, well, make sure you tell Umar that. Make sure you tell Umar that I say good things about him and that I say people to him when next time he talks about how much he hates me. Because I wish Umar would join us at the convention. I think that would be a perfect time for me and him to get a chance to reconcile and share the stage together. But, you know, Umar isn't speaking to me, so you can't make somebody do something they don't want to do. But I don't have any ill will toward him, and I want to make that clear because people think that angry energy has to go both directions. It doesn't have to go both directions. I'm focused on doing what's best for the people, not fighting with some other dude. Let's see here. Ivory says, hello from Taiwan. Wow, and he left America for a better life. I love it. That's what we all need to do, man. We need to just build a big ship. Do like the Middle Passage in reverse. Like we came over on slave ships and we like going back to Africa on like beautiful cruise ships or something, and like go back and like just reclaim the land that we originally inhabited and build businesses there and just get away from all this nonsense. I'm going to Africa, man. I kid you not. I'm literally going down to South Africa to stay. I'll come back and forth, but I'm gonna spend a lot of time down there. Let's see here. Sharonda says, do you sell audiobooks also? I love to read, but sometimes my time is limited. Let's see. Well, a couple things you might do, Sharonda, if you want to, sort of engage with audio. First of all, you can go to the Your Black World store. I think it's store.yourblackworld.net. That's store.yourblackworld.net. And I do have some audiobooks there, quite a few, so you can check some of that out. Also, you can subscribe actually to the audio of my podcast. Which a lot of times when I go on YouTube, I'll record it so people can listen to it on the way to work. Because I'm finding that, there are people that we're connected with that maybe this is sort of that one voice in the woods that they're hearing every day that helps them fight through the nonsense they deal with at work. And I love being that guy. I love being your friend, your buddy, your mentor, your father figure, whatever it is you need me to be. Because my goal is to share openly as much as I can so that I can maybe help you through the storm. So anyway, the podcast, you can subscribe to the podcast by going to BoyceWatkinsPodcast.com. That's BoyceWatkinsPodcast.com. And in fact, if you want to follow us via text message, you can actually text the word Boyce to 31996. That's text the word Boyce to 31996. Now, Tiffany says, Umar said in the video, he doesn't hate you or have ill will toward you. Umar just said that he don't fool with you because of statements that were made in the past when you two had a disagreement. No knock to you or Umar, but some people are just like that, terminal. That's true. That's true. And I don't think being terminal is beneficial. I've had people that have insulted the hell out of me, and I I realize it ain't about me. It's about their opinion. It's about a perspective, you know. And I think that one thing that we have to do as black people is learn how to disagree without thinking that disagreement is some sort of dissent. That disagreement means that you're trying to undermine somebody, or you're trying to hate on them, or trying to destroy them. I think that's silly. That doesn't make any sense. Like, no. I mean, but then again, I'm a scholar. I'm from academia, and what that means is, in academia is like a tough world like that. It's like football. Like, you know, in football or boxing, you ever see two boxers that literally try to kill each other in the ring, and then afterward they give each other a hug and talk about how great the other guy is? Like that's kind of what being in academia is like. It's like you literally are an intellectual fighter, and you're a prize fighter, and you're like throwing blows and trying, you know, going hard because you want to win. You're competitive, but after the fight's over, you give each other a hug and you say, "All right, man, I'll see you next time." You know, and that's it. That's what it is. You know, and I think that that's how the best ideas come to the forefront. Like, imagine if boxers got mad and started crying every time somebody punched them. Like, man, you hit me, I hate you, man, I ain't talking to you no more. Like, that would be stupid. That wouldn't even make any sense, right? So healthy debate, as Brian is saying, healthy debate is good. Damon says debating is the essence of an academic. I agree. I love debate. I love it, because the other thing too, this is my coaching on anybody who wants to sort of develop themselves intellectually and engage in good debate with other people. Don't take it personally. That's the other thing too. If somebody disagrees with you or somebody proves you wrong, try your best to detach yourself from that. Like, gain the ability to put your ego aside enough that if somebody proves you flat out wrong, you're not going to defend a lie or make it personal just because you are embarrassed that you were incorrect. I practice all the time trying my best to be ready to admit that I'm wrong. You know, I try my best to say, you know, look, this is just my point of view. You know, you can take it or leave it, so you don't have to take my perspective. Some people talk as if what they're saying is the truth. And I actually have friends that do that. You know, I work a lot with Damon Dash, and Damon talks about what he says as if it's true. I talk about what I say as if it's a point of view. You know, and I've had situations where I've talked to somebody who maybe had far less knowledge of the field than I did. Like, I had a debate, and this was very frustrating. I had a debate with a guy one time who had never studied finance, had never studied money or investing. I have a PhD in finance. I've been teaching college students for 23 years. He was telling me how every single thing I said about finance and money was just dead wrong, and and cutting me off and interrupting, like no, what's really going on is da-da-da-da, and this ain't da-da-da. And it was so funny because, and I just sat there and I just kind of like stopped talking. When people like do that, when they just talk over you, I just stop talking, because I'm like, well, I mean, you know, it sounds like you want to hear yourself talk, so I'm not going to really interfere with that. You know, and so as this was happening, people saw this, and he looked so stupid. That was the thing. He looked like a complete asshole. So if you want to look like a complete asshole, then run around, make it all about you. Make it all about you doing all the talking, everybody listening to you, everything you say must be the gospel, everything anybody else says must be wrong. And then you're going to look stupid. You're going to look like a complete idiot, and people won't tell you. So, you know, that it is what it is. Let's see. Devin says, all you need is Jason Black, and that's it. Yeah, I don't think Jason likes to show himself in public. That's what's interesting about Jason. I think Jason. I met Jason at an event in Chicago. Dr. Claude Anderson was there with Dennis Kimbrough and Jason. Yeah, that's the only time I've seen Jason in public. I don't have no issue with Jason. I mean, I liked him. He's a nice enough guy when I met him. But yeah, Jason. I don't think Jason would come to the event. Tariq Nasheed, I did invite Tariq. Tariq is having a baby, so he wasn't able to make it. But Tariq and I are friends, and we do business, and I respect Tariq. I talk about Tariq a lot because I'm very proud of what Tariq has done with Hidden Colors. I was talking to Benny Boone, the guy who did the Tupac movie, yesterday when he came on my show with Damon Dash. And I was just talking up Hidden Colors. I said, have you heard of Hidden Colors? He said, no. And it's amazing to me how many black people there are who have not heard of Hidden Colors. I think every black person needs to hear about Hidden Colors. And I said, oh, man, you got to check it out. I said, this brother made this movie. It's independent. He's making millions of dollars from it. And what I love about it is that it was black-owned production, you know, black-owned distribution. Like, he distributed this movie himself. He didn't feel like he had to go to Paramount Pictures or Sony Studios. And to me, that's the wave of the future. Like, that's what excites me about a movie, a black movie. It's not so much like, we know how to make movies, and we know how to be in movies, but I don't think we know how to really distribute and create an economic system around entertainment, around our films. You know, so the distribution is where that power is at. And so I always said when I make movies, sure, I want to learn how people get these deals from Paramount and Sony and Disney or wherever, but I don't really want that. I want to have our own distribution. Like I want to have the ability to come to you guys, say online, and have you buy the movie through digital download, or us be able to screen it ourselves. Or actually, I want to actually build a chain of black-owned movie theaters around the country, like about 100 theaters, where when a black film comes out, we can make a distribution deal directly, with the director, with the creators of the film, and distribute that movie all across the country, physically and digitally. And I already have it visualized in my head. These wouldn't be big movie theaters. These wouldn't be like AMC's. These would be venues where you can comfortably seat 100 to 200 people to watch a movie, maybe serve some soul food and as well as other kinds of food. Just kind of mix it up, make it unique, and you can actually make enough money to maybe triple whatever you pay on your lease and all that stuff. And there you go. We've got a chain of black movie theaters all across the country. That's what I want to do. And I've got more thoughts on this, and I'll share this more with you as we develop it. So by the way, so if you want to support any of this stuff, because we can always use help, man. I'm not kidding. Like what we're doing is so expensive, and I don't think about the money. I don't live an extravagant lifestyle. I've made a lot of money doing what we do, but the money doesn't really stay in my hands because I flip it back into the business. I'm always flipping it back into saying, okay, what bigger and stronger things can we do for the black community? So anyway, if you want to support, anytime you take a class at the Black Business School, that's one way to support. So right now we got all kinds of classes. For example, our wealth building program for children. You can join that at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. If somebody could type that into the feed from me, I'd appreciate that. That way, if somebody asks, it'll already be up there. But the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program is one way that we fund everything. Also, we do have we built recently an entire curriculum for Black Wall Street. Basically, with this curriculum, you get a digital copy of the film. You can watch the film, and then after you watch the film, we've got more video of a panel of experts discussing Black Wall Street, discussing how Black Wall Street was built, what happened in Black Wall Street, the issues that persist, how we can rebuild a Black Wall Street, how we move forward. Then there are also curriculum guides and study guides and Q&A guides for every age level. We got one for 3rd to 5th graders, 6th to 8th graders, 9th and 10th graders, 11th and 12th graders, and adults. And so these are conversation starters for your family to allow you to be able to not just watch a movie like this, but to really learn from the movie, to figure out how you can make your own black history in your own family. If you really do it now, like if you really come out there and really just do your best. Somebody says blackmillionaires.com. Yeah, thank you, Andrea. But actually, it's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. If you really do certain things, if you really push hard in this generation, then you'll be the person in your family that people are talking about 4 or 5 generations down the line, and that's really what I think you want to be. You want to be that person people are talking about long after you're gone. Like that's the key to immortality. So anyway, let's jump. We should probably jump back to the conversation topic that we started off with. But with Colin Kaepernick. So what I've seen so far is I've seen people burning jerseys. I've seen Jim Brown speak up in support of Colin. I've seen Jerry Rice say that all lives matter. He needs to respect the flag, which I thought was stupid. It's kind of just a textbook response. I think that at the end of the day, I think that him taking the stand is a beautiful thing. I really do. Now let me see here. I see Kiera says, "Please don't be mad at me. I'm not mad at you, Kiera. I love you. You're here. That means that you're part of my family. But I really don't get the Black Lives Matter movement. I've always thought of blacks as equal. I was raised that way, and I guess I'm naive, but didn't realize that there was a movement." I think she's saying a movement. See, here I am. I'm with my big fingers. I'm trying to hit this button again. I got these big-ass fingers, man. Dang. Hold on. There we go. I didn't realize that there was a movement needed. I can get behind protests, but I don't like all the destruction and vandalism. Why is that happening? Well, you know what, Kiara, I would say that you can protest in the way that's comfortable for you. And really, actually, Black Lives Matter itself as an organization is being questioned by a lot of people as kind of, extreme white liberalism in blackface. Black Lives Matter was kind of actually designed to really push forward, the LGBT and transgender movement into the black community. And again, I mean, but there are people from that community, from the LGBT community, in the black community, so they have the right to do that. But then there are other people who have who have value systems that are not always consistent with what the LGBT community is kind of pushing forward. So you have people, for example, I know black Christians who are not comfortable with a lot of the conversation around, for example, using whatever bathroom you want to use based on which gender you're identifying with that day. I know a lot of people who are not comfortable about that. I wouldn't want my daughter in the bathroom with somebody with a penis. Like, I just wouldn't feel good about that, and I think it's my right to say that. And you don't have a right to call me homophobic because I said that. No, I just don't want my daughter around an unauthorized penis. If she's around a penis, it should be her decision. So, so basically, there are people that have issue with that. And then also, in terms of you not feeling that a movement is necessary to prove that black people are equal, I think that that's very good in the sense that it does say something about, about the what's the word? The purity of purpose that you have. It sounds like you have a good heart, but unfortunately, we do live in a world where there are a lot of studies that show that that black life is not valued the way white life is valued. There are actually studies that show that white people believe that black people actually feel less pain than they do. There are indicators out here all over the place that kind of say that, for example, if a black man gets shot by the cops, it's not treated with the same seriousness or sense of urgency as when, say, a cop is killed or when a white man is killed. When my best friend, Greg Wilkins, was murdered in Louisville, Kentucky in 1996 in front of his 2-year-old daughter, that same week, a white woman was murdered from the suburbs. She was killed on her way into a bank. She worked in a bank. And they had my friend's story in the back of the newspaper at the bottom, and they mentioned it like one day, maybe two. He had his brains blown out in front of his child. But this white woman's story was headline news every day for an entire week. They held candlelight vigils, offered a $25,000 reward, etc. And the belief that I have, and based on my experience, is that when a white person is harmed or killed or whatever, it's just seen differently. Like, you look at, for example, when you had the killings in France, and you had all these people, black people too, changing their Facebook profile and picture and everything to sort of pay tribute to the people in France. But then at the same time, you've had murders, or you've had mass killings that were 5-10 times greater in Kenya and other places around the world, and people don't go through that same effort. It's almost like they kind of feel like, well, they died, but they're black, or one white woman's tragedy could hog up the headlines for weeks, whereas during that same period of time, hundreds of black women could have been murdered during that time, and a bunch of black men, and they don't say anything about it. Or even like with the kidnappings, how the media will feature the blonde, blue-eyed white girl, and everybody will feel so bad for her family, but nobody talks about what's happening to black people. And so, I think it goes, there's so many examples I can just think of. Even at the station was playing Candy Crush and didn't even want to take his police report. She literally kind of looked at him like he was like kind of like interrupting her day. And and this man had been traumatized. He had just I'm resetting the feed here on Facebook because apparently we lost it. Let me see here. Give me a second. And so Rhymefest raised hell about it. I know Rhymefest very well. And Rhymefest, a very articulate brother, he stood up and he went on national television. And he talked about exactly what happened. He put it into context. I talk to Rhymefest a lot, and I know Rhymefest is very capable of doing this. And when that happened, I literally remember thinking, whoa, they messed with the wrong black man. Like, Rhymefest is going to get in that ass, and I cannot wait to see the fallout. So hold on, let me tell everybody that I restarted the feed. Please refresh and go to the top. Okay, so I don't know how many of y'all came from the original feed, but just so you know the culture here on the page. If the feed goes out, just hit the refresh button, and I'm gonna come back like a couple minutes later. If I'm in mid sentence and I lose you, just just give it like maybe 2 minutes, refresh the page, and then go back up to the top, because sometimes Facebook just shuts down the feed, and I don't know why. But then again, maybe I do know why. Maybe they just don't want black people talking about stuff like this, right? Who knows? I'm just being silly. Okay, so let's see here. Okay. Yahiro says that he thinks that he's buying the conspiracy. He thinks Facebook is doing it on purpose. They might be. I have no idea. I just know that I'm gonna like keep going. It ain't gonna stop. And so anyway, I want to make sure I also mention the company the black-owned company that's sponsoring all these live streams, and that's greatblackspeakers.com, the largest black-owned speakers bureau in the country. So if you're looking to become a speaker or book a speaker, check out greatblackspeakers.com. Also, if you enjoy, some people just want to hear me talk about financial stuff. It's so funny. People don't know. Not everybody. Y'all that know me know this, but those who don't know me don't know. I have people who really think that all I will talk about is financial stuff. That's it. So when I start getting too black, they start getting uncomfortable, or they start saying, well, you need to shut up and just focus on financial stuff. And I just tell people very clearly, look, I'm not a finance professor who just happens to be black. I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. So there's almost nothing that I say that you can comprehend without understanding the context of my blackness in the process. I'm not the most, I'm not Mr. Blackety Black in terms of knowing every single thing about every aspect of black history. I don't necessarily understand. It took me a long time to learn how to say assalamu alaikum. I'm not a brother who's necessarily, as knowledgeable as I want to be about, say, Pan-Africanism. I'm learning. I'm just a black man doing his best. I'm just a black man who sees things in the world that bother him. And I feel obligated to use whatever resources and abilities I have to help confront that problem. And so, with that being said, there are some people who just want to talk about financial stuff, which I think is very, very important. And in the Black Business School, we have a financial coaching program that I think you guys might like. You can find out about it at askdrboyce.com. That's askdrboyce.com. Arthur says, you upgraded that microphone. That's what's up. Do I look professional, man? I look like I look like I really belong here, don't I? Don't I? I'm posing right now. See that? That's my professional pose. I'm being silly. I'm messing with y'all. Oh yeah, it's so funny. The other day I had the craziest experience when I was in LA because I worked with the Real Network and Tierra Williams. That's the casting agency we do a lot of our work with in Los Angeles. You should check them out. They're really good if you're interested in being an actor, filmmaker, whatever. Anyway, I had them. I said, look, let's make this fun. Let's make this event not just about talking about money and serious stuff. Let's throw in some entertainers, right? So they got some entertainers. They got a beautiful sister who did an amazing dance routine. And then they had a comedian named Precious who was funny as hell. She was so funny. I was like dying. I was on the floor laughing. And the funny thing, though, was Precious is also real raunchy, right? She's real raunchy. Like she'll throw out jokes, she'll cuss in a minute, whatever, talk about sex, all that stuff. And I forgot that some people were gonna bring their kids. So there were kids in the audience and Precious was doing her routine and it was hilarious, but I'm sitting there like sweating, like, oh my God, where's this joke going? And so anyway, what I learned this week, here's what I learned this week. What I learned this week is that I need to start letting parents know what's going to be there in advance. And I also need to let the entertainers know what audience that they're talking to. So that's what I learned. So that just shows you guys, there's a lot of stuff that I'm learning as I go along. So if you ever see me make a really dumb mistake, just chalk it up to ignorance, to me learning. I'm still learning. I don't know everything, but I'm doing my best. And that's it. And that's what I encourage you guys to do when it comes to business or whatever it is you're trying to do. When it comes to trying to live your dream or build the life that you want, just do your best. Do your best and learn to love yourself despite the fact that you're not perfect. Learn to love your imperfections as much as you love the things about you that are good. Because there's a lot more out in the world that you don't know than there is that you do know. There are a lot of things, more things that you haven't done than there are that you have done. So you're never really at a point where you're just ready for anything and you just have it all figured out. Nobody's ever going to get to that point. Oh, Houston says, take something for your sinuses and stop swallowing it. It makes you sick. Ooh, that sounds kind of gross. But you're right. I did take something for my sinuses. I take Claritin D, and I like it. And only problem is my allergies are so strong, man, that literally it still doesn't always matter. It's still like all over the place. Yeah, Tyreek is asking, will you ever come to the Bay Area? Yeah, I'm coming to the Bay Area in October. I just don't have the URL where you can buy tickets. And that's the problem. I think it's like it's a college out there. I think it's called Haney College or something like that. Laney College. So I bet if you Google Boyce Watkins, Oakland, Laney College, something will come up, and that's where you could probably buy your tickets. But I'll try to find out. I do have an event in Dallas coming up. If you guys happen to live in Dallas, let me see here. I'm trying to see if this URL, Dr. Boyce Dallas, works. If it doesn't, yep, if you go to drboycedallas.com, you can buy tickets for that. Also, the All Black National Convention's coming up. I'll be there in Atlanta for 3 days, so you can buy tickets for that at allblacknationalconvention.com. Allblacknationalconvention.com. Rock says Dr. Sebi has the cure. Yes, he does. He apparently can cure anything. Titus is saying, when are you coming to Mississippi? As soon as y'all outlaw slavery, I might come to Mississippi. As soon as y'all let black people off the plantation, I'm coming to Jackson at some point. I know people in Jackson. Maria Lloyd, who used to work with me, I think she lives in Jackson. So I actually look forward to coming to Jackson. And Miss Swag is asking about Memphis. I'm definitely coming to Memphis. That's where my assistant lives. Shy's asking about Philly. We're planning a date for Philly as we speak. To DC. I think DC is not that far, so you might be able to take a train down. Let's see here. Georgina says, Kansas City, come here. Oh, too late. Already came. I was there about a month and a half ago. And really, Kansas City didn't get the turnout that we were hoping. I mean, people were there, but it wasn't what I think it could have been. So maybe we just need to, find better ways for marketing. Philly, Chicago. Yeah, we did Chicago, but of course, since I live in Chicago, we'll do more Chicago. Crystal says Detroit. Yes, well, of course. Who can forget about Detroit? Detroit's one of the greatest cities in the world. Boston, Gabrielle. I don't know if I'm coming to Boston. I was in Boston. I worked for GE Aircraft Engines in an internship in Boston. That is a racist city, man. Oh my gosh, y'all got some problems in Boston. Some of those white folks are crazy in Boston. Ooh, and they'll like call you a nigga and cut you. They Boston don't play. Zulu, Montgomery, Alabama. Probably not Montgomery, but maybe we'll find something in Atlanta or in Alabama. I'm not exactly sure when. The problem is sometimes with mid-sized cities versus large cities, it's a little tougher to pull together the crowd. Also, I'm not really mainstream per se. I'm not a household name, nor do I really care about being that. And when you're not in a household name, when you're not a household name, what can happen is people, it can be tougher to really pull the crowd out. Like people kind of have to be they have to be sort of willing to be leaders in order to want to do that. Like usually you'll come to a Dr. Boyce event because you want to be there, not because you think everybody else wants to be there. Some people follow other people because they think other people follow them. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the weird way that fame kind of works. And not to say this doesn't happen, but in a way, I think what I've gathered is that, our platform is kind of like the cool thing that you never heard about. Like people will say, well, do you know Dr. Boyce Watkins? And somebody will be like, no, I never heard of him. And be like, oh my God, you got to go check this stuff out. So it's kind of cool. Like it kind of becomes like this underground thing that isn't going to be necessarily on mainstream TV. Because I'm not aiming for that. I'm aiming to actually build something of our own. But it's like once people are here, like they're really here, and it makes me feel good because I feel like I'm providing a service that helps a lot of us because we're drowning in the ignorance. And the coonery is strong. The coonery is everywhere. So when you have something different, it's like, yes. And also I find a lot of black people who are pro-black, but they're not, say, for example, they don't necessarily fit directly in the conscious community, even though I respect the conscious community immensely. And I love the brothers and sisters there. But I know a lot of mainstream black people who are like, okay, well, tell me something that's going to help me understand this and inspire me to overcome this. But I don't necessarily need, the inspiration I might get from my pastor. I don't want, something I might get from a Pan-Africanist. I just want a regular black dude to kind of break things down to me in a smart way. And I guess that's one of the things I can offer to people is, I think about everything. So maybe it is what it is. Thomas is asking, how tall are you? That's an interesting question. Normally a woman would ask me that question, because there's some women that like the tall guys or something. But it's okay. I'll tell you, I'm 5'7" 3/4, and I take all 3/4 of that last inch because I'm not a tall dude, so I like to take all the height I can get. Let's see. Amen says leaving economically failing U.S. is the real road to riches. Oh, leaving the economically failing U.S. is the road to riches. I don't disagree. I think you're absolutely correct. Emory, Orlando. I'll be in Orlando next week, or actually in about 4 days, for the Tom Joyner Black Family Reunion. Tom his people invited us down. I'll do that event. Let's see here. Nat Turner. Power to the people. Says, if you ever need any assistance with an event, my brother, reach out and let me know. I have other brothers that admire you for what you've done and are currently doing, and we're here for you. All right, man. Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate it. And we actually do have an intern program. I don't think that they have an email address. I'll find the email address, and because what we're doing is we're recruiting. Or not recruit. Well, we're allowing people to apply for internships that will let them kind of work with us and learn from us, and also give us some help with some of this stuff, because that's the big challenge of doing this. I'm just real particular about where we get our money from. I don't want to get our money from unethical people, or from, say, corporations, or just from government grants, or something that's very fickle and unstable. If you're living off of government grants, then that means when the grant dries up, everything you're doing dries up too. I believe in the development of what I call clean economic energy. Clean economic energy, just like regular energy, it's recyclable. It's where you put $1 into your economic machine and you make $1.50 or $2. So there's natural growth. Also, there's independence. The fact that I can say, the reason I can say what I say is driven by the fact that we don't really care what anybody thinks. There's nobody out here that's really paying our bills. Nobody. We pay our own bills. And it's hard. We sometimes are still at that difficult stage, because sometimes my desire is bigger than our bank account, but I just have faith, and this is where, for you, as you build whatever it is you're trying to do in your life, faith becomes very important. Sometimes faith is the only friend you got, where you just have to say, I'm going to figure it out. I'm smart. I'm going to figure this out. I'm hardworking. I'm going to figure this out. And then sometimes you don't figure it out, and then you end up embarrassed, and you feel like shit because you maybe lost some money or put some a couple people's jobs at risk, which I hate doing that. But I realize I got to go in this battle and I got to fight, because you think about it, anybody who goes to a war, like this is easy compared to real war. Real war, you might actually die, and if you go to war, if you run out in the battlefield, even if you're a very well trained soldier, you might still be killed. Very good soldiers get killed every day, but they go out there and they realize that worrying about being killed isn't going to make them a better fighter. It's only going to increase the chances of death. Also, they realize that they're sacrificing for something bigger than themselves. So even if they do get killed on the battlefield, at least they did what they were supposed to do. They went out and they fought. So that's how I kind of think about it. I'm like, well, I might get killed on the battlefield, but at least I went out and fought. You got to go out here and fight. And I just think that life is more interesting when we fight for our people, as opposed to just trying to bow down and fit in and all this other nonsense. Kelly's asking about London. Yeah, we're coming to London in the fall, probably November. I've been working with a nice lady named Iola, who is helping to coordinate a lot of that in London. So she promises me she's going to help me have a lot of friends in London. And I want to have friends in London, because there are a lot of people in London who support us, who need us, and I want to be there, and I just think it's going to be amazing. We're going to do several stops in London. We're going to meet all different kinds of communities in London. We're going to have a hell of a trip. I also heard from the head of the European branch of the Nation of Islam, who wants to host us as well. So we're going to do several events in London, yes, and in other parts of Europe as well. Let's see. Shanice has mentioned Hampton, Virginia. I don't think I can go to Hampton, Virginia right now, because I don't think that the market's there to really support it. Now, if you gather 100 people and get 100 people willing to buy a ticket, then we can make it happen. If you have a city and you've got a big church or a big organization and you've got people that are willing to help us, cover those costs, send an email. My email address, everybody can have it. Please write it down. It's Boyce at BoyceWatkins.com. That's Boyce at BoyceWatkins.com, just like my name. And what'll happen is I can't respond to every email because it's like a madhouse. There's so many messages that come through. But when the email comes in, you'll get an autoresponder. And in the autoresponder, you'll see names of different people that can help you for different things. So for speaking stuff, you might hit No Malanga. If you want to be on our platform, you might speak to Andre. If you want to do business with me somehow, you might hit Rashida. If you want to join a class or ask me business-related questions about your company, you can join Ask Dr. Boyce. If you want to get wealth building for your kids, you can join blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. What we try to do is sort of be a non-stop shop or one-stop shop for anybody that kind of wants, to figure certain things out and get certain things done. And I think we've done a good job with that. In fact, we developed an affiliate program this year at theblackcommercenetwork.com. At theblackcommercenetwork.com, you're actually able to become a partner with black-owned businesses and help them sell their products in exchange for receiving a commission. So every single thing that we sell in the Black Business School, also the Black Wealth Bootcamp, which has had thousands and thousands of students, the blackwealthbootcamp.com, that's part of the affiliate program. So for example, if you decided that you were in the boot camp and you loved it, or you weren't in the boot camp and you love something I do, you could take this special link and you could say, hey, Dr. Boyce Watkins is teaching the Black Wealth Bootcamp. Click here to sign up. So when people sign up, you would get 30% of whatever they pay. So a lot of people are using it as a good source of extra income. Also, blackcrowdfunders.com is another platform we set up so we can have our own crowdfunding site. So you go to blackcrowdfunders.com, you can actually raise money for your business. And I forgot to mention one of the biggest things we just did is the blackhistoryschool.com. We just established the blackhistoryschool.com, where we're gathering experts on black history to teach black people and black children their own history, where you can do it digitally, you can do it at a low price. The first major thing that we launched was a Black Wall Street curriculum, where we have sort of study questions and study guides for people of all ages and members of the family, etc. And you can find out about that by going to blackwallstreetstudyguide.com. That's blackwallstreetstudyguide.com. So we're trying our best. We're trying to build. We're trying to create things. A lot of it's digital. Some of it we want to make physical at some point. I just have to, find a way to help people sort of see the vision. Because the good news is that we do have the money, but the bad news is that most of the money is still in your pocket. And so if you feel compelled to support, my goal is to help you just see value from the things that we're using money to build ourselves, so you'll trust us when we come back and say, give us this money and we'll use this money to build this thing, and you can see it and visit it, etc. And so when you go to the blackbusinessschool.com and you sign up and take a class, then that is money that's that's our way of asking for donations. But we don't really ask for donations because one of the rules I teach in cooperative economics is that, free riders don't really benefit the system. That if you got freeloaders who just are asking for free stuff, it doesn't help cooperative economics kind of work. So we don't want to be freeloaders. We don't want to ask you like, hey, give us a donation and we'll give you nothing. We say, hey, give us, do business with us, make a trade with us, spend some money on a class. It's not going to cost you as much as it will cost you to go to the university down the street, and we'll give you some information that we believe strongly will change your life. I guarantee you, if your child goes through, for example, our Black Financial Leadership program, your child will be changed for life. Blackfinancialleadership.com, that's where that program is. And we meet with the kids every Saturday, and we talk to them about financial concepts. So it's 5 weeks straight, and basically we get on there, we have fun with the kids, and the kids are learning, and the kids on there are starting businesses. We're actually going to do a Shark Tank style competition with the kids, where we're going to take the 3 or 4 best businesses, and we're going to blast it out to 400,000 people and say, which of these companies do you like? And they're going to vote. And the winner will get a prize from us. They'll get featured on our platforms as well as a small investment. But additionally, the best part is that the kids in the Black Financial Leadership program also, just by virtue of the fact that people are voting on their business, means that a lot of people are going to come and support their business. Do you understand? So it kind of all fits together. So so if you want to know more about it, we'll probably launch another 5-week session maybe sometime later in the year. We don't have one scheduled yet, but you can check it out at blackfinancialleadership.com. But right now it's closed off. We only have the kids in the program that we're having now. But if you want to apply later on with your child, you're certainly welcome to do so. But you got to do things like that with your kids early, because that's going to set the tone for their whole life. That's going to shape how they see everything. That's going to shape their opportunities. It's going to shape whether they go through life feeling successful or feeling depressed all the time. One of the keys to feeling depressed is to be in a bad situation and feel like you can't do anything about it. That studies have shown that basically when you don't feel, they did this with lab rats. When the rats were made to feel that they couldn't change their situation, they became depressed. So a lot of black people feel depressed because we don't feel like we have the ability to change our situation. People tell you to vote for the Democrats, and you do what you're told, and then nothing happens, nothing changes. And then the Republicans are saying, well, vote for us instead because the Democrats ain't doing nothing for you. So you go and you vote Republican, and still nothing changes. So at the end of the day, I believe that black people have the capacity to change our own circumstances, and that the solutions for our community will come from us, by us. Now, if you want your child in the Black Financial Leadership Program, again, it's shut off now. We're not taking new enrollment right away, but you can go sign them up for the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, which is a lower cost, lower price point program that a lot of people like. You can check that out at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. Let's see. Gerald says, let's talk about money. Well, I think we've been talking a lot about money. I think that, and it's funny because the title of the live stream wasn't actually about money. It was actually about Colin Kapernick, but that actually links to money. If you understand economic systems, you see how all that links to money. Much of black oppression links to money because black people don't speak up on racism because we're afraid that white people are going to take our jobs. White people control us financially. Many black people in Hollywood are afraid to speak up because they don't want to be blackballed. They don't want to lose, the big movie deal or whatever it is they're trying to get, or they're trying to win Oscars and Grammys and all that other stuff that doesn't mean anything. Again, it comes down to sort of protecting something of value that white people give them. And really the most valuable thing they're giving you, honestly, is your self-esteem. Because if you already have enough self-esteem and enough dignity, and you already know that you are somebody, even if they don't like you, then you don't need all those accolades to feel better about yourself as a person. We tend to sort of need those things to fill something inside of us that's missing. And so I think that when you go into that struggle or that battle, part of putting on your armor is really practicing understanding that you are somebody, even if they don't like you, even if they reject you, even if they never give you another job, even if they never give you an award. When I was at Syracuse University, I never got a teaching award. I barely got any raises because when they identified me as the outspoken black man, I didn't fit their system. I'm not mad at them. I'm not saying like, oh, they took something away from me. That was so wrong. That was so mean. I see it as, well, why would they want to support somebody like me? I mean, I'm literally urinating on everything that they hold dear. I was pointing out the fact that they hadn't promoted a black person in 100 years in the business school. So why would you want to reward somebody who tells you such an ugly truth about yourself? So when you infuse white supremacy with human nature, you understand why white people don't like you when you talk the way I talk. The difference is, though, that in order to have the economic maturity necessary to have true freedom of speech, you have to understand that in America, a capitalist society, freedom of speech has a financial price tag. If you can't take care of yourself economically in America, you will not have freedom of speech. You have to either be able to make sure you provide for yourself economically, or you have to let go of your attachment to economic prosperity as some sort of measure of your personal success. When you let go of that, like, I don't really need to have money in my bank account to feel like I'm a smart, successful black man. I don't need all of that. I don't need to be on TV to feel like I'm smart and successful. So if VH1 or BET or somebody came along and offered me a stupid show doing stupid stuff, I'm going to say no, and I'm going to be okay with saying no. I'm not going to feel like, oh man, I blew an opportunity and I could have did this and could have did that. No, I don't want to go out here and do stupid stuff on a big level. A lot of people think that if you're big, then you're successful, even if you're big for doing stupid shit. No, I don't want to be famous for doing stupid shit. That is a great way to waste your life. People with money and power, they literally buy other human beings. They buy your life. They buy your life because, and here's how I can buy your life. I can basically say, hey Kirk, I see Kirk saying we need more black mentorship networks and workshops. I agree 100%. And we're going to do our part to help with that. And we'll also promote yours if you have something in place. So I say, Kirk, if I want to buy Kirk, here's what I do. I say, Kirk, okay, I know that you are educating your children at home, and I know that you are building a business for your community. I mean, I know that you are helping old ladies cross the street in your hood and doing all these great things. But I want you to spend your life. I don't want you to spend your life doing that. I want you to spend your life shoveling shit. I want you to spend your life shoveling shit. So what's Kurt going to say? Kurt's going to be like, nah, man, I'm not going to spend my life shoveling shit. That's a waste. And I say, well, why not? Well, because that's a waste of time. Like, who cares? That's not adding value to the world. Taking care of people, you know, hooking up, walking old ladies across the street, educating my kids. You know, that's what is really valuable. So I could say something like, well, you know, Kurt, we've got a new television show called The Best Shit Shoveler Show. And it's on VH1 right after Love and Hip Hop. And we're going to pay you $1 million an episode to come on the Shovel and Shit Show. And so what happens is, you know, Kurt, first of all, I'm going to get Kurt's attention, especially if he needs money, right? And also I'm going to get his attention if he feels that fame is a validator for his humanity. If fame makes him a more relevant human being, then he's going to be intrigued by the idea of being in front of millions of people, even if he's doing something really stupid. And then finally, the kicker, you know, comes down to the money. So I've given him fame and fortune that is sort of like these artificial layers that are sort of piled onto a core of bullshit, right? So I'm taking nothingness and I've made it into what appears to be something because I've laced it with fame and I've laced it with money, right? And so at the end of the day, Kurt says, you know, hey, you know, I really want to do this job for my community and I want to do these other things, but I just got a role on the Shit Shoveler Show and I'm going to make $1 million an episode. So next thing you know, Kurt is doing that and he really thinks he's using his life for a productive purpose because he's making money, he's very famous. But really, he's still wasting his life. He's just sort of being paid to do that. So ultimately, when you have money, you can literally pay people to waste their own lives. When you go to that corporate plantation every day and you spend a total of 100,000 hours at work over a 40-year work life, you've literally wasted thousands of opportunities to have conversations with your children, to spend time with your mama before she dies, to do all the things that you really want to do to make your life relevant. You've missed all of that because the corporate plantation has paid you good money to go to a job every day and pull a lever, to do something that's meaningless, but they give it meaning because they attach it to resources, right? So I wouldn't say, it's funny, so IJ is saying the selling out is just that, putting a price tag on your dignity and self-respect. The offer for it is always a low-ball one and never what it's worth. Yeah, they make low-ball offers to black people because black people don't have as much money as white people. And so, yeah, to me, I think selling out would be, maybe it definitely relates to the dignity and self-respect. But then sometimes, you know, sometimes dignity and self-respect, if you see it the wrong way, it can be a little overrated in the sense that, you know, when you really have self-esteem, then you can sometimes, what's the word? You can sometimes take a back seat to that. Like sometimes you, like for example, you might feel that being a proud black man means that you got to speak up every time somebody says something ignorant and racist because it offends you or whatever. And what I have found is that there are some times where I don't say anything about racism because I don't feel somehow compelled to respond to somebody's ignorance or what they say, the ignorant thing they say about me. If some white trash lady, you know, runs up and calls me a nigger, I don't like it, but I'm not going to go fight this lady. You know what I mean? Because I know I'm not a nigger, and I know that her statement's more of a reflection of her ignorance than it is a reflection of who I am as a person, right? So I think that that dignity, though, and self-respect does matter. I think it's really true for men. I just feel like men have to have their self-esteem intact just as a function of your manhood and being able to really be the kind of man that your women and children look up to. But I would say also that selling out to me means that you are living a lie and perpetrating a lie and perhaps doing harm to the people you care about in exchange for money. You know, so like a Charles Barkley going on television and saying horrible things about black people to kind of mobilize white people to feel like it's okay to kill us. That to me is the ultimate sellout in the sense that basically, you know, for some of these people, they're literally doing something and saying things that they wouldn't be doing and saying if somebody was not paying them. That's kind of a sellout thing. All right. So anyway, I should probably go. I'm just sort of getting into this conversation because there's so much to think about and talk about. But do this. If you haven't gone to drboycewatkins.net to get a free e-copy of my book, please do so. Go to drboycewatkins.net. You can get a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, A New Paradigm for Black America. Also, we're having the All Black National Convention in Atlanta the weekend of September 16th. Gerardo says, no, don't go. Well, I love you, Gerardo, man. I appreciate those kind of words. But yeah, I got to go. We got to go finish shooting this movie, the Steel Justice movie, and I got some other stuff, and then I got to get ready to go to Orlando tomorrow. Also go to allblacknationalconvention.com to take a look at the agenda, decide if you want to come down. I hope that you'll come down and join us. Also, if you want to take a look at that Black Wall Street Study Guide, write this down. Go to blackwallstreetstudyguide.com. That's blackwallstreetstudyguide.com. And then finally, if you want to join the wealth building program for children that we have, that is at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. So I gave you a lot to say. I hope you wrote some of it down. I love you guys so much, and I appreciate the fact that you come and hang out with me. This was therapeutic for me too. Sometimes I got a lot on my mind. There's a lot to talk about, and I'll always do my best to be honest with you. And I really enjoy these conversations. So take care, everybody, and I love you very much. And I'll see you guys soon. Peace.